PGA Tour players rubbed shoulders with the stars at Pebble, but this year it's the Tour's A-listers bringing the star power to Carmel. We look at who has the edge on the Monterey Peninsula. One-time NCAA champ, two-time PGA Tour winner, and 3 sticks. Charles Howell III is here. He will share some of the keys that made him one of the Tour's best ball strikers. As Wellness Week runs on, could sitting in your golf cart be costing you valuable shots? Plus, World Long Drive champ Justin James takes us into the gym to show you some tips on getting a little more flexible.
What are we at now? I'm at 10. 10! Yeah.
And you can't talk fitness without the Black Knight. Gary Player himself will join us to shed light on what he has done through the years to stay so young.
Watch this. Shoot, 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 cha!
Put down the muffin. Forget the Pop-Tarts. This is Wellness Week. It's Morning Drive for Wednesday, February 7th, 2018. Good morning, everybody. What was that youngster eating? What was that?
It looked like a hot dog. Was it not a hot dog?
Smeared with ketchup.
He looked like he was enjoying it, though.
Yes.
Robert Damron is here. Paige McKenzie, Ewan Porter joins us for the first time in 5 years on Morning Drive. It's great to have you back, Ewan.
Oh, it's great to be back. Good to be part of the family.
You're going to be with us for the next 5 days. So
if
we're
you
going to
can
be
put up with me, yeah.
Yeah, we'll put up with you. Don't worry, you've got no choice. You can't escape now. You're in for the next 5 days. We're going to be talking a lot about the AT&T Pebble Beach. But first of all, let's take a look at some of the things that you have achieved in your career over the years. We'll take you back to your 2web.com tour victories. Do you remember this in 08, the Moona Classic down in your home country at the Moona Links?
Terrible hair, but a great win.
You won by 7 shots, and then an Italian restaurant
Wow.
in
Those
South
bridges.
Georgia had lost one of its tablecloths because you turned it into your trousers as you won the South Georgia Classic in Valdosta with a one-shot victory over Johnny Vegas. And you can see your career resume here, the 2web.com victories, 3 appearances in the Open. That must have been a lot of fun.
Oh, it certainly was. What a great championship that is. And if only golf was that easy every week.
And you wrote a book, Tour Confidential.
Yeah, I did. I guess when I got to the end of my playing days, I just I got to a point where I thought I'd write everything out for maybe my kids or grandkids to want to read one day. And once I got to a certain point, I guess I felt like it was something that the public out there could learn a lot from, and aspiring athletes as well. And yeah, it was my first foray into writing, and yeah, loved it.
Shameless plug, you can go to any
That's right.
any
Yeah, I
good
didn't really know
bookstore
that was
or
coming. That's
website,
fantastic.
and you can buy that book today. I'll get a little percentage if you do it today, so please do. Anyway, let's talk about this week in golf, and we'll start with the 77th playing of the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am. Each of the world's top 3 and 5 of the top 10 in the official World Golf Rankings are in the field. Of these 5 players, Spieth and Dustin Johnson combined for 3 wins at Pebble. We're looking at the top 10 players in the official World Golf Rankings, and we've highlighted who's at Pebble following his runner-up finish in Dubai. McIlroy is making his first appearance, would you believe? He'll partner with his father, Jerry, as he traditionally does for the European Tour's famed Pro-Am, the Downhill Links Championship. 8 of the Tour's 12 winners this season are in the field at Pebble, including DJ, John Rahm, and Jason Day. So let's turn our attention to making a pick. And we will start with Robert Damron.
Me?
Who's your pick
I gotta
of the
stick it
top
out there
5?
first?
Yes.
I think that Rory McIlroy is, he's going to be inspired by the possibility of winning a Green Jacket Grand Slam. But more importantly, I suspect it's much like when I go on a diet. I sit around and I look at myself and I go, you know, I need to go on a diet. And finally, I catch a look at myself in the mirror and I go, that is enough. And I start right there. And I suspect that's what he's done. He's world-class player, of course, but we keep getting further and further and further away from those big wins and the times when he dominated. So going to Pebble Beach, where it's typically the air's heavy and the fairways are wet and soft, he flies the driver as far and as straight as anyone. And also the greens are bumpy. And when the greens are a little bumpy, typically the difference between a great putter and a not great putter narrows a little bit. So that being kind of his Achilles heel won't hurt him as much at Pebble Beach. So I suspect big things out of Rory this week.
And he needs to go on a diet.
No, I need to go on a diet. He does not need
Rory
to.
doesn't need
Rory's
to go on a diet.
waking up and thinking, goodness me,
Right.
what did I deserve? Okay, Ewan, who are you picking?
Honestly, I think it's hard to go past the defending champion, Jordan Spieth. I know he missed the cut last week, but great memories of Pebble Beach, obviously, playing with Jake Owen, who he partnered with last year. Obviously, the Pro-Am format, very relaxed. And I just, he's the best, or one of the best players in the world for a reason. And I think those memories last year will outweigh the demons that he would have had last week in Scottsdale. And he doesn't need to go on a diet.
Jake Owen, his amateur partner, who is a big country star, in case you
And a good player.
And
I
a
think
good
he's
player.
2 or
He's a
3
good
handicap.
player, yeah.
Well, I'm picking Dustin Johnson. I know I'm going on a huge limb here, playing incredible golf recently, but also playing incredible golf at this golf course. In fact, he's got the most rounds in the 60s since 2008 of anybody out there. And you mentioned it, the Pro-Am format. I think that actually is a factor in a lot of players' choices on coming to this event at all, because you know you're going to have slow days, you know you're going to have bumpier greens, and for Dustin Johnson, not a whole lot bothers him. He hits it extremely well off the tee and into the greens, which I think makes a difference when you're playing 3 different golf courses. It's one of those where you can't really prepare a game plan for one particular golf course because you are seeing so many different ones. So I think somebody that's a great ball striker has the advantage in this particular case.
We will see whether your picks play out over the next 4 days with our coverage, which begins tomorrow at 2:30 Eastern Time on Golf Channel from Pebble Beach. Now, turning our attention to Wellness Week, and we are not just talking physical wellness, we're talking about mental wellness as well. No one better to turn to for that part of the game than our very own Dr. Gio, who sat down with Damon Hack to break down the psychology of one of the most famous moments in Pebble Beach history.
Wellness Week, it rolls on. We'll call it Wellness Week Wednesday with Dr. Gio Valiante. Good morning, how are things?
Good morning, Dame. Very good, thank you.
Check this out. Tiger Woods, let's go all the way back. On this date in history, the year was 2000. The date, February 7th. The site, Pebble Beach. He's 7 shots down with 7 holes to play. Poor Matt Gogol. Tiger starts holing shots from everywhere, fist pumping his way to a victory, one of the great comebacks we've ever seen. He would go on, of course, to win this tournament and then win the U.S. Open at Pebble Beach that June by 15. He won the Open by 8. In July, he won the PGA. In August, beat Bob May. Then he wins the Masters in 01, that Tiger Slam. And it all could point to that Sunday at Pebble Beach. How did he do that, and what's the effect on the game when a player does that?
Well, I'll spin this into a psychological sort of observation.
Okay.
First of all, I don't know how he did it. I don't know how he did any of what he did because he's Tiger Woods. We know a little bit about maybe how he did some of it, but the pinnacle of it is all Tiger. Only he knows how he did what he did. He and God, maybe, right? But I'm going to comment on something that every golfer has experienced, and that's the differential between playing in attack mode or playing defensively, like predator or prey. Right. When you're down 7 shots, it's really easy to sort of pin your ears back and play with nothing to lose. Right. You figure you're out of it anyway. You might as well just freewheel it, and all of a sudden, you often start playing better golf because you're literally playing with nothing to lose. The opposite is when you're leading and you're being chased, and all of a sudden you start playing defensively and going into protect mode. You know, this is not only the amateur golfer, even Jack Nicklaus said, listen, if I look back at my career, Nicklaus said, I was more dangerous playing from a couple of shots behind than when I was leading. Right. So this is sort of something that's implicit of the brain, that the idea that we're playing with nothing to lose, we can pin our ears back, go into attack mode, freewheel it, and when we're leading or feel like we're being chased, we get conservative. Now, one more thing I'm going to say about Tiger Woods that was another superlative in a career of superlative, more than any other player. Arguably in the history of the game, even when he was leading, he played in attack mode. Right. Psychologically, the hardest thing for a golfer to do is to have a lead, even against their buddies, and stay aggressive and swing fearlessly and take risk. We generally all of a sudden start trying to protect what we have. Tiger Woods, the only golfer in the history of the game who I know of, who when he was in a lead wanted more, because he wasn't playing the opponent, he was playing history, he was playing his own capability, he was playing greatness. And so there's a lesson to be taken away for golfers at home, is that when you're playing with a lead, try to get the mindset of being an underdog. Try to play as if you have a 7-shot deficit. You know, pin your ears back. Always be the predator, never be the prey.
Love the pin the ears back, attack the quarterback. What's the other side of that coin, though? You're Matt Gogol. You're someone else at the business end of a Tiger Woods comeback. How difficult is that when that deficit, you know, that was 7 becomes 6 and 5 and 4,
well,
etc.?
Let's go back to watching what Patrick Reed and Rory McIlroy did in that head-to-head battle, right? You know, you've got a situation where Patrick Reed is trying to sort of lay it down on Rory, and the crowd is going crazy, and he's trying to do what Tiger did to so many. And what did Rory do? He answered, and he started. The only thing to do in a moment like that is you can't go into we call the psychological equivalent of the prevent defense in football, where you're playing to not lose. There's a moment in every competition where your instincts are telling you to cower, right, to go into protect mode. That's the moment where courage matters. And Gary Player, speaks eloquently about this. In those moments where your instincts are telling you, hey, put your tail between your legs and get a little defensive, you cannot do that. You have to answer the charge, get aggressive, swing freely, and try to escalate your confidence rather than diminish it.
Such an interesting conversation, and a little bit later on in Wellness Week, we'll talk about one of Tiger's great rivals, Davis Love III. Thank you so much, Dr. Gio.
Thank you, Damon.
A little grip down wedge on the 15th was only one of many shots in one of the greatest comebacks in the game. 7 back with 7 to play. Talk about escalating confidence. This shot was one of so many that define the magic of Tiger. And the 15th hole at Pebble is one we're going to see all week long as the PGA Tour tees it up there this week. Robert, talk to me about this shot on this hole.
Well, Tiger actually pulled that shot off by taking some off a pitching wedge. It's only 97 yards. Normally, that's just a driving range sand wedge. But the greens are so soft, the slope is so severe, and the pin's back that in order to not land it around the hole and watch it just come screaming off the front of the green, he took some off a pitching wedge.
Is that what you would do?
No.
So
I'm going sand wedge.
Show me what you would do, Rob.
I've got a good yardage for a sand wedge. I tend to draw my sand wedges, which I think is a good way to actually kill some of the backspin and make it spin sideways. So what I would do is aim just right of the pin, somewhere in between the fringe and the pin, land it there, let the spin take it in, and go in just like Tiger did. Surely it's not as hard as it looks.
You called the shot. Let's see it.
It's just right.
Ooh, very nice. And a little spin to the left, as you mentioned.
Bad. Not in.
Now, Tiger hit that grip down pitching wedge. Is that more of what you would choose to hit?
Well, I would prefer to hit a sand wedge, but I'm going to hit the pitching wedge like Tiger did. But it was such an iconic wedge shot. The way he matched up his arm swing, his body swing, the trajectory, everything was just so well controlled. And that's such a hard thing to do under pressure, because even if you're watching the tournament this week, you'll see so many pros hit wedge shots where it'll land near the hole and spin all the way back off the front. So for him to do that, to hit that shot under pressure, and this is under pressure as well, first shot of the day, try and get inside Robert.
Take a seat.
No.
It is hard to control the adrenaline in that moment, which makes it all the more special of what Tiger Woods did. And we're getting set all day long for a big week ahead at Pebble Beach. For now, let's send it back to Tom.
Got a big week ahead on the European Tour as well. The World Super 6 Perth, stroke play and match play combined. Last year, Australian Brett Rumford set the goal of regaining his European Tour card, and he did with a victory, leading by 5 after the stroke play. He survived the 6 matches to win for the 6th time on the European Tour. Let's give you a reminder of the format for this special tournament. 3 rounds of stroke play with both a 36 and 54-hole cut. The second cut brings the field down to 24 players with a sudden death playoff used if needed. Then it's 6 6-hole matches. If a match is tied, it's decided on a 100-yard par 3. The European Tour, unlike the PGA Tour, has approved players to wear microphones during the tournament, so you'll be able to listen in when our coverage starts tonight on Golf Channel. For more on what's happening today on the show, let's join Lauren. Good morning.
You got it, Tom. I love when they're mic'd up, right? Hearing those thoughts from the players while they're in action. Very cool stuff. But looking at our tee sheet, coming up today on Morning Drive, he already earned quite the title as the first alum of the first tee to get a PGA Tour card. But now Scott Langley is a winner on the Web.com Tour. So the victor of the Panama Championship is going to open up on the record he set with his win this past weekend and what the offseason grind grind had to do with it. Also, with the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am on our hands, we're going to dive deep into wedges, and a go-to PGA professional is going to break things down live in the simulator on why a certain hole on this bucket list layout offers an array of shots for success and what you need to know in similar situations yourself about dialing in those distances. Plus, you saw him last log a tie for 6th place at Torrey Pines, and today, two-time PGA Tour winner Charles Howell III will not just be helping you with the most famous aspect of his game, but also he's going to go inside the locker room with our fellow tour pros to tackle headline topics across the game. It's all ahead today on Morning Drive. More to do as Wellness Week rolls on, including a little gym time with the reigning king of crushing the golf ball. Check this out.
Hey, I'm Justin James, 2017 Volvic World Long Drive Champion, and today I'm going to help you with your hip mobility.